When it comes to predicting the end of the world, who better to trust than the famed mystic who predicted her own death? I honestly can't think of a better answer than Baba Vanga, unless we're also consulting Nostradamus. But hey, let me know in the comments if you have a different preferred mystic. Yeah, Baba Vanga's mine. And it's time to dive into the deep end of predictions together. Let's kick off today with more reasons to be scared of AI. Not that I needed them, but hey, who needs sleep? Baba Vanga predicted a technological revolution in 2024, with AI continuing its march towards total takeover and the rise of quantum computing leading to major upheaval in the sectors of finance, healthcare, and cybersecurity. In a similar vein, or wire, Baba Vanga predicted that cyber hackers would amplify threats to national security by targeting infrastructures like power grids and water treatment plants. As AI grows more sophisticated and widespread, the voices warning against the potential dangers of artificial intelligence grow louder. These things could get more intelligent than us and could decide to take over, and we kinda need to worry now about how we prevent that happening. According to Geoffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, he did a lot of foundational work on machine learning and neural network algorithms. Last year, 2023, he actually left his position at Google so that he could talk about the dangers of AI, noting that a part of him regrets his life's work. Heck, even Elon Musk, along with over 1,000 other tech leaders, urged in a 2023 open letter to put a pause on large AI experiments, citing that technology can pose profound risks to society and humanity. I think that might officially be the only time I'll ever say this. He made a point. Online media and news have become even murkier in light of AI-generated images and videos, AI voice changers, as well as deepfakes infiltrating political and social spheres. These technologies make it easy to create realistic photos, videos, audio clips, or replace the image of one figure with another in an existing picture or video. As a result, bad actors have another avenue for sharing misinformation and propaganda, creating a nightmare scenario where it can be nearly impossible to distinguish between credible and faulty news. A prime example of scary uses of AI is China's use of facial recognition technology in offices, schools, and other venues. Besides tracking a person's movements, the Chinese government may be able to gather enough data to monitor a person's activities, relationships, and political views. And if you don't understand how scary that is, you better. Another example is US police departments embracing predictive policing algorithms to anticipate where crimes will occur. Now, the problem is that these algorithms are influenced by arrest rates, which disproportionately impact minority communities. Police departments then double down on said communities, leading to over-policing and questions over whether self-proclaimed democracies can resist turning AI into an authoritarian weapon. Now, to get into more of the worldwide horoscope style of things, AI rising and cyber-striking are supported by Pluto, planet of the underworld, reckoning and regeneration, changing signs from stalwart Capricorn to anything goes Aquarius here in 2024. Now, Aquarius is a sign of progress at all costs visionary, the revolutionary, the cult leader, and the inflexible idealist. Relative to reckoning, Pluto is where we reap what we have sown, and it tracks the investment we have made in the name of progress. AI, tech, and otherwise is kind of going to lead to our downfall or ultimately going obsolete. So en masse, Pluto in Aquarius equates to serious metamorphosis in systems, structures, and social hierarchies. Now, for reference, the last time Pluto drug his velvet cape through Aquarius was the late 18th century, ushering in both the American and French revolutions and the onset of the Industrial Revolution. We're cresting another point of no return, my dudes, a critical moment in our human evolution, and another tiptoe towards our collective apocalyptic death wish. Moving on from that, we got another scary one: bioweapons. Oh bother. Now, if you're not quite sure exactly what that encompasses, don't worry, I've gotcha. I'll go in depth. So biological warfare, also known as germ warfare, is the use of biological toxins or infectious agents such as bacteria, viruses, insects, and fungi with the intent to kill, harm, or incapacitate humans, animals, or plants as an act of war. Offensive biological warfare in intentional armed conflicts is a war crime, though, under the 1925 Geneva Protocol and several international humanitarian law treaties. To be a little more specific, the 1972 Biological Weapons Convention bans the development, production, acquisition, transfer, stockpiling, and use of biological weapons. Whereas, in contrast, defensive biological research for prophylactic, protective, or other peaceful purposes isn't prohibited by the BWC. So you can see that there's some loopholes here for countries to create bioweapons as long as they promise not to use them. Biological warfare is kind of different from warfare involving other types of weapons of mass destruction, including nuclear warfare, chemical warfare, radiological. None of these are considered conventional weapons, which are deployed primarily for their explosive, kinetic, or incendiary potential. Biological weapons may be employed in various ways to gain a strategic or tactical advantage over the enemy, either by threats or actual deployments. Like some chemical weapons, biological weapons may also be useful as area denial weapons. These agents may be lethal or non-lethal, and may be targeted against a single individual, a group of people, or even an entire population. They might be developed, acquired, stockpiled, or deployed by nation states or non-national groups, whereas in the latter case, if a nation state uses it, kind of quietly all hush-hush, yeah, that's bio. So, enter good old Baba Vanga, who predicted that a big country is set to test bioweapons this year. Which one? Well, I'm not a mystic. I can't say with absolute certainty, but if I were to hedge my bets and guess, Russia, Japan, Iraq, hell, maybe even the States. Out of all the countries with like bioweapons programs that we know about, those seem the most likely. But hey, let me know what you think in the comments. In the middle of today's hellscape, something that should surprise nobody, a climate crisis. I feel like with the state of global warming, this one should be obvious, but it'll be a big contributor to the end of the world when it does happen. You don't need to be a psychic, a prophet, or a mystic to be very much aware that we are deep in the hellscape of a climate crisis with record high temperatures, wildfires, droughts, and marine life extinction dotting the horizon. Now, we're also going to consult good old Nostradamus for this one. So experts point out the line, the dry earth will grow more parched and there will be great floods when it is seen, when he's referring to 2024. He's also predicted some extreme weather events and world hunger, saying very great famine through pestiferous wave, to be precise, and that's in addition to Baba Vanga saying the same. She has foretold that there will be terrifying weather events and natural disasters this year. So great. 2 for the price of 1. If you're not scared at this point, try this prediction on for size. Terror attacks all over Europe. Baba Vanga really said, you know what, 2024, game over for the world, claiming that the number of attacks would increase all over Europe. And she wasn't alone. Once again, we're going to consult good old Nostradamus as backup here. A devastating nuclear explosion will cause climactic changes and significant depopulation in many European countries. Now, I've mentioned him a couple of times today, so if you don't know who Nostradamus was, he was a French doctor and astrologer. He contributed his knowledge during the plague, famous for his prophecies in which he anticipated the future of humanity until the end of the world. Most famously, he predicted the attack on Twin Towers. And for many centuries, right up until today, his prophecies are studied around the world and announce the events that are to come. Over the years, his predictions have often been associated with important events that have occurred in the world. So, a lot of folks, this one included, believe that Nostradamus has predicted the future and that his predictions have proven to be accurate. Which, that's kind of alarming given the current global situation. So, let's quote him again. For 40 years, the rainbow will not appear. For 40 years it will be seen every day, the dry earth will grow drier and great floods when it is seen. Now, this kind of worries me, especially since nuclear explosions have really changed the world in the past, and we're still in a world that's recovering from the last global epidemic. If we got like a nuclear war, that could yield unprecedented human death tolls and habitat destruction. Detonating large amounts of nuclear weapons would have an immediate short-term and long-term effects on the climate, potentially causing cold weather known as a nuclear winter. No thanks, I don't do well in -13. If I'm gonna give an example, let's go back to 1982 when Brian Martin estimated that a US-Soviet nuclear exchange would kill 400 to 450 million directly. So like that's the States, Europe, Russia, and maybe 700 million more because of follow-ups, explosives. A lot of scholars have predicted that a global thermonuclear war with Cold War era stockpiles, or even with the current smaller stockpiles, will lead to the end of it all. That's it. Human race wiped out. Just like the dinosaurs. The International Physicians for the Prevention of Nuclear War believe that nuclear war could indirectly contribute to human extinction. So even they're saying it. Via secondary effects, environmental consequences, societal breakdown, economic collapse, the world is still feeling the fallout from the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. And that was back in 1986, which was almost 40 years ago now. Like that was before I was born. I'm only 26. And Chernobyl still really can't be visited. Like you can go visit there, but you gotta burn your clothes afterwards. Imagine that on a much more global scale in today's day and age when there's so many more people on the earth? Absolutely not. Like a lot of people that were living in Chernobyl at the time have since had cancer and it's been repeating over the years. We don't need a repeat of that anytime soon. So I figured I'd end today with the prediction everybody's making for this year. The obvious one, an economic crisis. Great, another recession. No, nobody's saying that. Never. Am I hoping the housing market will crash so I can afford a better apartment? Sure, but I'd like to stay fully employed while that happens, please and thank you. One economist is saying that since 2009, this has been 100% artificial, unprecedented money printing and deficits. Apparently 27 trillion, with a T, over 15 years to be exact. Now, according to him, this is off the charts. Totally artificial, which means we're in a dangerous state. Now, this man's name is Harry Dent, and he thinks 2024 is going to be the biggest single-year crash we'll see in our lifetimes. And if you lived through the late 2000s, I feel you shudder through the screen. He said some more, though. Let's get the direct quote here. I'm the guy that's praying for a crash while everybody else is not. We need to get back down to normal and we need to send a message to central banks. This should be a lesson I don't think we'll ever revisit. I don't think we'll ever see a bubble for any of our lifetimes ever again. Now, he has spent the majority of his career analyzing proprietary research, crediting his against-the-grain prediction to overvalued markets and excessive stimulus spending. While recent rallies have overwhelmingly provided investors with mild recession expectations, he's very firm that an everything bubble is going to burst this year. Now, historically, market bubbles are characterized by a rapid rise in stock prices before being met by a sharp fall. Now, Dent noted that this bubble actually started in late 2021 after the height of the global panini, with the first signs showing in 2022 when the Nasdaq was down 38%. And according to him, this year's gonna bring the B wave of that crash. Oh bother. And that brings us to the end of our time, and maybe 2024 really will be the end of it all. If you enjoyed my ramblings today, could you help us out by giving this video a like, subscribing if you aren't already, hit the bell to predict the future again with us here at Top 5 Scary Videos, and I'll see y'all next time, you lovely spooky people.